Doug Benson, A Cautionary Tale of Three Pigs. A Cautionary Tale of Three Pigs, Doug Benson.
Once upon a time, there were three pigs. They lived in Iowa on the family farm with their parents. One day, their parents said, "It's time for you kids to move off the farm and start a life of your own." So they headed north to Minnesota. When they got to Grand Rapids, they looked around and said, "This is what we were looking for." They immediately set about building their houses. The youngest pig was Wendy, and she was an artist, and she found the perfect meadow to work on her watercolors. And she built a magnificent house by weaving together grasses and wildflowers. And it looked like an upside-down tornado that came to a point. The middle pig was Woody, and in fact it was Woody who had convinced the other pigs that Minnesota was where they should go. He built the house out of logs that looked like a giant beaver lodge, and he sited it under a magnificent canopy of white pine trees. The oldest pig was Walter. Now Walter had been a builder in Iowa, and he built the perfect builder's home. It had all the amenities, granite countertops, and a hot tub. Now, when they moved up here, they were alerted that there was one character that they should be wary of. And it was a timber wolf named Big Bad. And Big Bad was very mean and very scary. One day, Wendy was painting in her meadow, and she saw off in the distance a big, furry creature coming towards her. And she knew right away that must be Big Bad. She ran into her grass house and peeked out through the grasses. Sure enough, he came right up to the door and he said, "Little pig, let me in." And she said, "Go away, I know who you are." And with a mighty breath, he blew her house away and it disappeared up into the stratosphere. Big Bad actually for a minute looked up in the sky and felt good about himself. I forgot to mention one very important thing about Big Bad. Big Bad was so mean because he ate porcupines. And so he constantly had porcupine quills stuck in his face, in his tongue, in his nose, his paws, his chest. Wendy ran as fast as she could to Woody's house and said, "Woody, Big Bad's after me." They peeked out the door, and before they could do anything, Big Bad blew that log house to pieces, and it got blown off into a nearby lake. They ran as fast as they could to their brother Walter's house and said, "Walter, Big Bad is after us." Walter was amazingly calm and just said, "Follow me." And he led him up onto the roof of his house, where he had built a porcupine catapult. They looked out from the roof and saw Big Bad heading towards him, and immediately Walter let loose with his first porcupine bomb. And it hit Big Bad in the chest, and he crumpled to the ground. He got up and walked back towards the end of the forest trying to escape, but not before Walter hit him 2 more times with porcupines in the back of the head and the back of the leg. When he got to the edge of the forest, he got tangled up in the trees and the shrubs, and he just was stuck there. Wendy was the first to speak. She said, "I can't bear to see him suffer. I think we should go help him." So the three pigs walked out, and they spent a half a day pulling porcupines and quills off of Big Bad. Well, Big Bad was so thankful, he swore he would never bother the pigs again. Things really took off for the pigs after that. Wendy opened a gift shop on Scenic Highway 38 to sell her watercolors. Woody was hired by the DNR to run the local state park, which had been his dream job all his life. And Walter became a wildly successful builder, building brick homes for the retirees that moved to the Grand Rapids area. And Big Bad, he went to work for Walter and became his best employee. And at the end of a hard day of construction, he would go to the state park and entertain the tourists around the campfire with tall tales about the hazards of eating porcupines.